So our other area of concern is your custom commands. When you have a robot that does something that isn't built into our basic command structure, for example, walking as opposed to rolling, then you need the custom commands configuration. So I have some already in here, as you've noticed. I have, my robot doesn't actually do anything. It's just an Arduino. It has no motors attached to it. So I can pretend it can do all kinds of interesting things that it actually can't do. But what we have in here now are some examples of ways of using the custom command structure. And for example, you saw the modifiers for motion, and this is just a label that you can use either as just a separator or as a grouping label. If you put any text in there, then it uses it as a heading. If you leave the text empty, it's just a separator bar. And what you see down below here are a recent addition. They are the switches that let you toggle on and off which modes are compatible with this custom command. For example, if the command has to do with waypoint navigation, it makes no sense to show it when you're in remote control mode, because you're not going to be looking at any maps or seeing any GPS or anything like that when you're in remote control. So also, if you just don't need something like this particular heading in a certain scenario, you just turn off that and it won't be displayed in that mode. So here I'm going to go ahead and turn this on, and we'll see it appear when we go back to our interface. But right now I'm just going to touch the back button to get back to my other commands. And you can see when I go into edit mode on the gate, it shows what the basic command settings are. Again, which control modes it makes sense to display it in, and what kind of widget you want to use. This one happens to be a select list command, so you can either present it as radio buttons or a list. And then pick which of your select options is the default. For the select type commands, you'll also see over here the options for that command, which you can create more or fewer of as you see fit. And similarly, when you select one of those, you can edit its label, and if you want to give it a tooltip, you can put that in, and you can change what its ID is. So this is where things have to match what you're doing on your microcontroller. You notice each of these commands has a command ID, and you have a range of IDs that you can choose from, and whatever you decide to assign as the ID byte on your microcontroller, that's going to tell you that that's this command, then this is where you inform the Android app about what that command ID is. So if you've assigned, say, hex 46 to this command, then that's the one you want to pick here. And this will be relayed up to the control panel also when you are in client-server mode. So you basically, the workflow goes like this. You decide what you want to do on the microcontroller. You pick a command ID from within the range that we have given you to play with. You've got like 32 different choices that you can choose for any given command. And then you, if it's something like a select command, then you pick what the values are that you want to have for the various states that you want to be able to choose between, and you enter those when you're editing the options. Now when we create a new command in here, when we hit new on the plus sign there and create a new one, we just assign whatever one is next in line that hasn't already been used, and then assume that you will change it to whatever you want it to be when you go into edit mode. Okay, so since in our demonstration we are going to want to enable the waypoint navigation and see what that looks like on the control panel, I'm going to go ahead. I had already entered some mock commands here for that, but I had them hidden so that they wouldn't confuse us earlier on. So now I'm going to reveal the heading on client-server mode and also reveal my fanciful routing algorithm control also on client-server mode. And I'm going to say I'm done. So you notice here in remote control mode, we're still not seeing anything about the waypoint navigation because we didn't have them displayed in remote control mode. But now you do see the heading up here that I now made visible called motion modifiers. You don't really need that here, but it'll be handy on the control panel when it divides this group off from the waypoint navigation or routing commands.